Good evening, members of Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. How's everybody doing tonight? I'm your host, Dave Cias. Uh, Welcome for those that are tuning on Restream, YouTube, Facebook. Tonight we'll be talking about spiritual warfare. Uh, and for those who follow my several TikToks under ApeCS895, how's everybody doing this evening? I hope everybody's doing well. Uh, Supposed to be a red moon tonight. I don't know. I didn't see nothing outside, so I said, let me start this video. Let me share this off to the groups that allow me to share on Facebook, real quick. We're just about all shared out, brothers and sisters, whoever's here tuning in. Boom, we're all shared out. Here on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. So we got here. How you doing, carnal? I'll drop a link here for you. You decide you want to join on, jump on or something. There we go. All shared out. You're on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. Tonight, I want to talk about spiritual warfare. You know, sometimes when people are too preoccupied in life, they're doing their thing, whether they're doing their their job of what they do, or they're enjoying life. Sometimes people do not see the unseen, right? The things that are within the balance. Um, you could be having a good old time in this world, right? But if you're not paying attention to the spiritual aspect of things, then you might miss uh, the unseen forces that are trying to come up against you spiritually, and which is part of the spiritual balance, spiritual warfare. We got Juan Avila here. We got August Bradshaw. How you doing, August Bradshaw? Yeah, spiritual warfare is very real. I do got a shirt on tonight. I think I know you have to be born in the 70s and 60s probably to remember this movie that I got on. It's an old movie from back in the day, and I'll share the shirt right now. Anybody remember this movie? You remember this movie? It's from the 80s. Let me do a close up of it. There we go. You remember this movie from the 80s? Let me light it up a little bit for y'all. See if anybody can remember the name of this movie. It's an old movie from back in the day when I was growing up. And that's the shirt that I'm wearing here today. No, it's not the Toxic Avenger. This is a movie. When I see this, if you ever see this movie, and you look at the Patterson film, how they make the Bigfoot look. Well, if you look at this movie, there was costumes that were being made with the same kind of mesh that the costume of the Patterson film. And this is a movie. The only thing I'm going to tell you is It's called the Battle of something. The Battle of the. That's all I can tell you. See who can figure this one out. There we go. That's a little trivia question to see who remembers that movie. If you ever seen this movie, it's not the Toxic Avenger. I'll even give you a clue. It's called the Battle of the, and you figure out the blank. Figure out the blank. The Battle of the blank. Can anybody figure? I will figure them. If somebody here that was born a little bit older than me will figure it out, that will know what I'm talking about. I done gave most of the title away. There's only one word to fill out the blank. I'll show the shirt one more time. There we go. Somebody got to know it here. We got Andres Juan Avila. If I never be here, you probably would know it. Come on, somebody. Well, there you go. There was a logical explanation to what you were going through last night. Anybody can take a guess. Anybody. There's a shirt. Sci-fi movie. It's like from the 60s and 70s, I think. Maybe 70s. The Battle of the. Go to Google and look up the Battle of the, and see what they give you, what titles they give you. If you can find this image, then you will know the answer. Yeah, I was tired, brothers and sisters, doing the early morning video. I was out cold all day. Uh, Whoever missed it, we had a live early in the morning from 3 in the morning till like around 6. So I was kind of like out of it all day. Uh, I decided to put on the shirt. I found this shirt, I believe, at Walmart. When I seen the shirt, I was like, I remember that movie because me and my bro went to go see it at the theater where we're growing up. Talking about in the 70s. So I went to I purchased it, and I figured that my brother would remember this movie. I'll throw the trivia question out there, maybe a little bit longer when other people show up. But it's from a movie. Sure, one more time. The Battle of the. Oh no, it's not Planet of the Apes. I'm giving you the title. The Battle of the. Then it's your name. It's called the Battle. As you can see, they're fighting each other. There's two. This one here, and this one here. It was an old movie in the 70s. You know, when you hear of like Godzilla and King Kong, well, this is a movie that was created that they got from overseas, and that they played it on the time frame when they were playing Godzilla and King Kong movies back in the 70s. Okay, I think I'm looking at it wrong here. It's called War of the Blank. The War of the Blank. I'm gonna share the picture. There we go. Let me share it. The There it is. Yeah, that's the movie right there. Gargantuous. All right. Yeah, that's the same. That's a picture that's on the shirt right here. I'm just sharing it with you. Oh boy, here it is. So how's everybody doing tonight? Yeah, that movie. I'm thinking it came out in. I'll tell you what year it was. It's from 1966. And the Patterson film is from 1967. But do you see the resemblance of the gargantuan compared to the how the Bigfoot look? The material is what I'm trying to show you is that it resembles each other. It's only 1 year apart. The gargantuan movie came out in 1966, but that's from Japan or yeah, from overseas. But if you look at the face and you look at the Bigfoot footage, it looks the same, kind of like the mesh, the outfit, the suit, or whatever the costume, they kind of resemble each other. So when I hear people say that, oh, they didn't have the technology back in the day to make anything like that, this bull, they did have the technology to make outfits to look that way. I was just trying to show you the comparison. They kind of made that movie kind of like that they got created in a lab or something like that, and they got bigger. They became gargantuans. They were giants. Some kind of, I don't know, there were sea creatures or something, but they became huge. There were giants. So they started fighting each other. One was good, the other one was bad. Kind of like Abel and Cain, right? So one was good, one was bad, and they started fighting each other throughout the movie. The Battle of the Gargantuans. If you never checked it out, you should just to check it out. You know the you know It's an old movie, so it's not gonna be up to par to the way they make the movies in 2025. But when you're a kid and you go see it, you're like you remember it because you've seen it at the theater. We got 17 viewers here. So is anybody outside checking out the red moon? If there's a red moon, it's supposed to be a red moon. I think it might be being shown on the other side of the world. I think it's supposed to last for about 6 hours. Uh, I don't know if it was shown over here, but I think it was going to be somewhere in another country where you're going to be able to see the red moon. I'm not sure. Something dealing with the sun and the moon lining themselves with each other or something like that with Earth. It's when the Earth aligns between the sun and the moon, casting its shadow on the moon. While most sunlight is blocked, some redder wavelength or of light are bent and scattered by Earth's atmosphere, creating the reddish glow on the lunar surface, similar to how a sunset appears red. He said sometimes it occurs for about an hour or several hours when it happens. This is this is what you should avoid during the blood moon, brothers and sisters. Touching sacred idols or visiting temples. Says some popular beliefs caution against entering places of worship or touching holy objects during the eclipse, based on cultural restraint and focus, using sharp tools or handling dangerous items. Printing suggests avoiding sharp objects like scissors and knives. For those who want to know, or blood moons good or bad? Whether a blood moon is considered a good or bad depends entirely on cultural and religious beliefs, as there is no scientific basis for it being either. Some traditions view it as a positive sign of growth or good luck, while others see it as a warning of misfortune, war, or the end of times. A total lunar eclipse that causes the moon to appear red due to the scattering of sunlight throughout the Earth's atmosphere. Let's see what the Wiccans have to say about this. Good or positive interpretations. They view a blood moon as a type of growth and manifestation according to the yeah, okay. The Islam cultures consider it a sign of Allah's power and time for special prayers and reflection, performing the Salatul Kuzuf. Yoga suggests that the event is inherently negative and is an astrologically specific event. Bad or negative interpretations. The ancient Inca believed a jaguar was attacking the moon. Ancient Mesopotamia saw it as an omen of death and the overthrow of their king. Judaism, the Talmud regards lunar eclipses as a bad sign. Christianity, some Christian preachers interpret, interpret a series of blood moons as a sign of the coming apocalypse of end times. Hinduism believes it can negatively affect nature and human life, causing issues with communication. It says, why shouldn't we eat during an eclipse? It is said that during an eclipse, negative cosmic rays or energies increase, which may contaminate food and water, which is negative cosmic rays of energies that contaminates the food and water. We've seen that kind of phenomenon. Me and my brother, when we had I wonder because of hallucinations or things to appear out of nowhere. This red moon, as it says, okay, it contaminates food and water because of the negative cosmic rays. Here's a question: does blood moon affect humans? Binoculars or telescope will help you if you have them. And unlike solar eclipses, which are dangerous to view directly, lunar eclipses won't damage your eyes as the moon reflects light isn't bright enough. Cloud cover may affect visibility, so check your local weather. There we go. Yeah, it was looking right here. I think yesterday it was looking kind of it was white, but it had like a reddish color around the moon last night. Kind of looked like an eye last night because there was like white clouds way up in the sky. And that's what we've seen here in Texas yesterday. Sister Brenda says she just stays in the house. Here we go. Since we always talking about going to drop a link here. Here we go. This is what a blood moon signifies in witchcraft. In witchcraft, a blood moon or total lunar eclipse is considered a powerful and often intense time for spiritual transformation, shadow work, and the release of what no longer serves you. Many modern witches utilize the unique energy of this event for powerful spells, divination, and deep reflection, seeing it as a time when the veil between the physical and spiritual realms is thin, allowing for profound personal growth and revelation of hidden truths. Here's the key aspects of a blood moon for those who practice in the dark arts and witchcraft. The blood moon intensifies the natural energy of a full moon, adding layers of transformation and karmic shifts. There's Sister Brenda
Hello.
work. It's in it's an excellent time for introspection, confronting inner shadows and uncovering hidden truth. Inner shadows or dark shadow spirits are we talking about here?
I mean, dark shadow spirits, honestly.
Dark shadow spirits. Transformation and endings. The event signals a powerful period for endings, allowing for the release of old cycles and the embrace of a new chapter. Thinning of the veil. Many witches believe the blood moon creates a thin veil between the earthly and spiritual realms, making it ideal for spiritual connection and practices. Divination and spell work. The heightened spiritual energy is often channeled into performing powerful spells and rituals and divination. What witches may be doing during a blood moon. Here we go. For inquiring minds that want to know. Spiritual reflection, engage in meditation, reflection, or chanting to connect with their inner spiritual energy. Releasing rituals, perform rituals to release negativity, past traumas, or anything that no longer supports personal growth. Casting spells, cast powerful spells focused on transformation, new beginnings, or resolving karmic issues. That sounds like spiritual warfare to me.
Oh, yeah.
Honoring ancestors. Some traditions use the time to honor and connect with ancestors. So, what does that mean that they use it to speak to the dead? Or possibly they're opening themselves to that in honoring, but there are some other things are being summoned besides their ancestors. DDN, demons that infiltrate. Okay, let's go to this one. What does God say about a blood moon? In the book of Joel, where it's written, the sun will turn into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord comes. How about this one? Blood. Well, yeah, they already talked about this. The blood, blood moon magic, a potent symbol of transformation, release, and shadow work, represent a time for deep spiritual reflection, power, spell work, and divinity. Yeah, I already talked about that. So, what do you think about this, Sister Brenda?
Well,
About the blood moon?
now, from what I know, I've always been told that the blood moon isn't a good thing. Um, that, yeah, I know people that
So,
do use it for witchcraft.
So, on the day of the blood moon, since we're talking about it, and it says that it's negative energy coming from the from up there from the sky to the earth. Do you think that on the day of the blood moon, that even during the day, that you will be seeing witches and warlocks coming out, targeting people to targeting people, the people that they're going to target through this witchcraft that they're going to do? That they go up to the individuals all of a sudden, like for example, you get a phone call, say there's somebody say, I'm here passing through, can I come and visit you? And it's somebody you haven't seen in about 2 years, but it's on the day of the blood moon. Do you think that they're up to no good? Would be my question to you.
It all depends on how well I know that person. If I know that they are a spiritual person and they have, Jesus in their life, possibly. But if it's somebody I haven't seen forever that doesn't even call or write, no, I'm busy. I don't want them in my house.
On the day of the blood moon, that means that they're up to no good. Am I correct?
Yes. And I don't know about you, but I knocked out this morning and I slept all up until 5 minutes ago. Straight through.
I've been out all day myself, but I'm up right now.
Yeah.
It says specifically, do not sleep on the day of the blood moon or on the night of the blood moon. Do not sleep.
Oh, well, maybe that's why we slept all day so we don't sleep tonight. Yeah.
And it's crazy. I have an appointment in the morning.
Uh-oh.
It's probably going to be another one I'm going to miss.
I get like that sometimes. It's okay.
You see that you heard the object that says to stay away from?
Yes.
Scissors or knives. Why would you stay away from scissors or knives?
Well, because obviously I think that means that in case somebody casts a spell on you, that is not well for you to stab yourself with
Be
this stuff.
around the object, because they might use that against you.
Right. And
The witchcraft.
it's funny that you brought this up because
Oh no, I'm just feeling it. I'm feeling it spiritually, sister.
yeah.
Something happened today, and I wasn't there, but I heard about it, and I was talking to my sisters, and that's why I'm talking about it right now. Here, go ahead.
I got a message I woke up to this evening from somebody I haven't heard from in months, asking me about somebody else and basically threatening to remove one of my shows, and all this other stuff. And I'm like, hey, you know what? Here it is. You need to deal with that person. Leave me out of it. I don't want anything to do with it. I've already tried the whole, they need to forgive, they need to move on, and they're not listening. So that's your problem, not mine. And it was kind of odd that person tried to go through me to get to the other person. But I put up a roadblock. Not happening. So that was kind of weird how you said people that you haven't heard from in a long time, and they just, kind of show up, leave message,
Or
call.
or they'll tell you, how you doing? Are you doing okay?
Right.
They're trying to find that information. That's how that's how they do the spells. They want to know what you're going through. If they can use that to come up against you, they're going to use it.
And Scott says to watch narcissistic people, and that person that contacted me today is a narcissistic person.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. So now that makes sense why they contacted me tonight. But I am seeing my way out of that conversation because I don't want anything to do with. Hey. Uh-oh. That better not be somebody at my door in the middle of the night. I do not answer. Well, if I answer my door, I'm not empty-handed. Hey, come here. Get over here.
What's going on, sister?
Oh, my dog is barking at the door, and I happen to be alone right now. So if I answer my door, I'm not empty-handed. That's for sure. But I'm not even going to answer it. They'll go away. Whoever it is will go away. People don't come to my house in the middle of the night.
Wow.
Because most people that know me know that if they come to my house in the middle of the night, they're going to get an answer at the door with a gun in their face. So they will either call me or message me. They don't just show up at my house. So if it's somebody that just shows up at my house, then it's not anybody I know. And when I'm alone, I don't open my door. Period.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I don't live in a real good neighborhood right now. It's kind of gone to crap. So I don't look. One night I was sitting here and I heard gunshots and found out my neighbor shot himself in the foot. I mean,
Was he shooting at a roach?
And I think he was drunk, and he said that he was drinking and playing with weapons, which we all know you should not do. And he was unloading it, and I guess he had one in the chamber and didn't realize it and shot himself in the foot.
Wow.
I was like, yeah, you're stupid. I will not be calling you if there's a gunfight. That's okay. I'm good. But yeah, so I don't answer my door. I don't, especially if I'm alone. I don't open it in the middle of the night. I have a peephole now. I had to make the apartment complex put in peepholes for me because when I moved in here, we didn't have any. And I finally said, hey, look, when I am by myself, I need to know who's at my front door. You need to put in a peephole, and you need to put it in low enough to where I can see it from my chair. So they came in and they measured everything and put one in for me finally.
Here's some other things. This ones are rituals of a blood moon. Blood moon rituals are spiritual practices centered around a total lunar eclipse, focusing on transformation and release by setting intentions for personal growth. Common rituals include writing down and burning desires or fears to release negativity, creating a sacred space for reflection, meditating, chanting mantras, or even collecting eclipse water under the moonlight. Uh, the symbolism of the transformation. The reddish hue of the blood moon is seen as a powerful symbol of shedding old energies and embracing new beginnings. Intention setting. Participants focus on what they want to release, such as negative habits, fears, or self-limiting beliefs, to make space for spiritual growth or personal growth. Sacred space. Gathering under the blood moon creates a sacred space for reflection and intention setting. Writing and burning. A popular ritual involves writing intentions or fears on paper and burning them to symbolize their dissolution and release from your life.
Wow.
It's called a release ritual. Write down fears of all habits, negative energies you want to release. Burn the paper in a fire, safe bowl, or fire pit. Visualize those energies dissolving as the paper turns to ash. Chalice toast. In some traditions, a leader lifts a chalice, offers praise to the blood moon, takes a sip, and passes it on to others in the circle to toast and drink. But they're not saying what they're toasting or what they're drinking.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. What are they drinking?
Exactly.
There's only one thing that I know of that gets put in a chalice, and
blood.
Yeah.
So here we go. Collecting eclipse water. You can create eclipse water by placing a clear, lidded container of fresh water outside under the blood moon, setting an intention for it, and retrieving it after the eclipse to use later. Meditation and chanting. In some Hindu traditions, the eclipse period is dedicated for meditation, chanting mantras, prayer to ward off negativity.
Mm,
Wiccan and pagan traditions. In modern pagan and Wiccan beliefs, the blood moon is seen as a potent time for transformation and release. So I wonder if the shapeshifter skinwalkers are going to be active tonight,
yeah,
or anything that transforms, like brujas. I would assume, right?
yeah.
Transformation and release. Hindu traditions. During a lunar eclipse, Chandra Grahan, Hindus engage in meditation and chanting, particularly the Yunjaya mantra, to seek protection. And the Inca people had a myth where Jaguar attacked the moon and they would make noise and shake spears to drive it away from Earth. Yeah, that must have been on some peyote or something too, no?
Yeah. Mm-mm. Yeah, Phil. I have a small dog. I used to have Great Danes, and they barked a lot louder, but they would never harm anybody. But this little guy right here, he's a Russian long-haired Chihuahua. He's as stubborn as they come, and he will bite somebody that puts their hands on me. He's terrible. But uh, but yeah, I do. I really think that a lot of these different moons and the eclipse and all that stuff, that I think that witches use it for witchcraft. I've
Yeah.
always thought that. That's why anytime there's any kind of eclipse, anytime there's anything like this, I just stay in the house. I don't go nowhere because people are crazy enough during regular moons. When there's a full moon, they're heightened. When there's stuff like this, they're just people just get stupid, and I don't want nothing to do with them. I just stay safe in my little home.
So if I were to go to the woods, maybe I'll see the shapeshifter skinwalkers out there because it says it's a time of transformation, or what did it say? Transformation, right?
Yeah. Um, I don't know if that would be a good idea because maybe it will strengthen them to the point where they could actually
Affect something.
yeah, yeah, that wouldn't be very good. Although I see it in your face, you're
Well,
challenged.
no, no. I'm just saying that I know that because, like I said, certain things happen, and that's when I know that witches, right, or people that are affiliated in little, what are they called? Not clans,
Cults. They're cults.
cult, cult, cults, or whatever. That when is the time frame they're out and about, you haven't seen them in freaking years, and they show up on the day of a blood moon. Well, they're not showing up just to show up to see
Right.
how you're doing. That's all I'm saying.
That's right.
So, if anybody has anything like that happen to them, I'll say take precautions, pray, type and rebuke any form of witchcraft and necromancy, and let it remain with the sender. Because if they make contact with you, touch you, or maybe while you're looking, they would try to put something in your food. You just got to be careful because, like it says there, they're up to no good. They're trying to find. They show up on a day of the blood moon like that. It's not a good thing.
Right.
What if? Okay, I got a question for you, Sister Brenda. What if a witch shows up, but then she shows up with a man? Would that man would be considered a warlock
Yes.
on the day of the blood moon?
Yes. That would be a reinforcement of strength.
So they're coming in twos.
Yeah,
But the warlock is more powerful than a witch
sometimes.
sometimes.
Yeah, it all depends on how new of a warlock they are. Sometimes witches will collect their warlocks when they first start so they can have them do what they want, or teach them to be stronger for them. So if it's an old warlock, then yeah.
80, 82 years old.
Oh, yeah, that's an older one. So yeah, they would possibly be pretty strong. Yeah. I don't know. I think I would be more on the lines of, uh, well, why do you want to come in the middle of the night to visit? Can't you just wait until tomorrow during the day?
Oh well, they came during. They come during the day
Oh,
before the sun sets, but they're coming on the day of the blood moon because their blood moon might be active on the other side of the world.
yeah, that's suspicious.
I'm talking about on the day of the blood moon event. Like it might not be here right now. It might show up later on, but on the other side of the world, there's some places that it's already maybe already passed there or it's passing through right now.
Yeah, that's true.
That that it's effective war. It's a worldwide event because it doesn't matter if you're not seeing it. There's still the energy of it is still there. And you said it's negative energy that
Right.
comes. So much of a bad of a negative energy that it could contaminate your water and spoil your food.
Yeah, that would make me mad because I buy bottled water and food is not cheap. Well, then again, there is one thing that we do have, Abe. We pray over our food. We pray over stuff that we consume. So I would think that would that would clear that up and stop that from happening. I just don't think it's a good thing anyways, these different moon cycles. I don't know how often we have a blood moon. Do you know how often we have that? Supposedly, didn't we have one of those already this year?
Yeah, I think that every year it's the eclipses that come around.
Yeah. I don't I don't know where Jaime is. I sure would like to know what Jaime thinks about that.
It says there is not a specific number of blood moons in a single year, as blood moons total lunar eclipse occur irregularly, but the Earth experiences about 2 to 3 total lunar eclipses globally per year. However, due to location's visibility of the event, any specific location on Earth will only experience a total lunar eclipse on average about once every 2.5 years.
Hmm. I don't know.
It says
Growing up,
there are
I did.
2 to 3 total lunar eclipses worldwide each year.
Hmm.
And it says, okay, let me see this one here.
I don't remember growing up there being such a stink about different moons and stuff like that.
Spiritual warfare is very real, brothers and sisters, and you just got to be cautious. Pay attention. Pay attention. It's not like times have changed so much. That you just got to be careful. Uh, you know, yeah, it could be somebody passing through, and I mean, it's for example, if somebody's passing through here where I live, on 30 near 35, and they go gambling every month because they like going to the casinos, and they go back and forth yearly, but all of a sudden, and they never stop once, but they want to stop on the day of the of the blood moon.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's right there. It's a big how do you call it? Ding,
So
ding, 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 ding.
yeah.
Caution, caution, danger, Roy Robinson, danger, Roy Robinson.
Yeah, that's pretty suspicious.
Right? They gamble, go back and forth to 35 all year long, to trips, to gambling, but then they want to stop on the day of the blood moon. And we read what it said. What
Yep.
what happens? So that means that they're up to no good. That they're using the negative energies from the blood moon to do the things that we just read. Tell
Hmm.
you, spiritual warfare is very real.
Yeah. Yep. I think that that's I think that that's kind of weird that it says that, and then yet they came by.
On the
And that,
day of.
yep, and that's one of the things they say to watch for.
Luckily, I talked to my family about all this. That there were like something took precautions because something don't seem right. I say, yeah, what would they stop on the day of a blood moon?
Yeah.
That's why I'm gonna tell my Heavenly Love Foundation.
Well,
That's what I tell everybody. Always maintain your Heavenly Love Foundation, because maintain your Heavenly Love Foundation. In that love foundation, you're not accepting any form of negativity.
right.
So whatever anybody tries to do to you is not going to work because you're not accepting it. So it's going to remain with them. It's kind of like you just deflecting it. It's deflect whatever they're trying to do. You deflect it.
Right.
Yeah, because I was called to see if I wanted to go meet somewhere and eat. And I had, like I said, I was asleep all day. I guess everything happens for a reason. I woke up and I said, and my father-in-law had just got in here, so I said, no, I'm gonna have to cancel that. But then, of course, on the top of my head, I know it's the day of the blood moon, and you know how we do these lives that we because of what we speak of here in spiritual encrypted encounters. For example, on TikTok, they banned me on TikTok.
Uh-oh. Whoops.
TikTok that says I can't post nothing on it because I violated the rules and regulations. I guess I violated the rules and regulations because I talk about Jesus Christ.
Oh my goodness.
So right now I'm just streaming off of Restream, YouTube, and Facebook.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of these platforms, they're a little ridiculous. I know I
So
get in trouble on YouTube all the time.
do you go live through YouTube?
Yeah. Yep, I do. I got the only other thing that I do, like I'm live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. I go live on Twitter, or X, I guess is what you call it now. Twitch, Kick, and then I upload my videos every night after the shows to Rumble. Only because I haven't figured out how to go live on Rumble yet. I did it one time and I can't figure out what I did. But
Yeah, I kind of like Restream. I've been doing it. I just don't know what's going on with people's connection when sometimes they're here and then they say, "Oh, I got kicked off." I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe they were saying something they wasn't supposed to, and they put it out.
maybe, I don't know. I know last night I was having a heck of a time, but I still haven't. I've gotten back all my other stuff, but I still haven't gotten back my Beyond the Box account. For I mean, it's there. I can go into it. I can see it, but I can't post with it. You know, I can't be in a chat with it. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
So I got a question, Sister Brenda. Now, since we talked about this blood moon,
Yeah.
so if there's negative energies coming from the sky or solar system or whatever into here to Earth, do you think that because there's that much negative energy that's coming through the blood moon, that other things can surface up here on this Earth? That they're I'm talking about spiritually, like DDN demons or whatever, that they surface up and maybe they go collect, like the collect what people
Yeah.
owe.
Well, I definitely believe that it makes them a lot stronger. Um, I do think that there would possibly be a lot more of them out there. Um, it's their playtime. I mean, really, it is. They don't they when they come out, a lot of times they don't get the chance to be seen by many. But I'm gonna bet if they have that negativity that's out there, I think that if people pay attention, they may be able to see a lot more things they probably wouldn't want to see. So, yeah, I think that it would charge them to the point where they they would be more apt to be out there and be a lot stronger. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm glad I don't drive anymore. So, I would not be
Well,
out there driving.
there's a lot of brujas and brujos right now casting spells on people,
Yeah.
trying to get rid of the negative energies that they have and send it to somebody else.
And see, this person that contacted me tonight, it's well known that he hangs around with an actual witch.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Is somebody that used to be on your show?
Yep. Yep.
When did he leave the show?
Last year around July.
So he hangs around with that lady.
Yep. Sure does. His, what we like to call his handler.
Ah,
So, yeah. Like I said, it was really odd because the things that are going on have been going on for months. And just now, he decides to try to contact me. And I'm just like, I'm out of it. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to tell you. You deal with it the way you want to deal with it. So don't threaten me because I will call your bluff. But yeah, it's really weird how, and I wasn't even paying attention to the fact that we were supposed to have a blood moon tonight. I've been asleep all day. I haven't been paying attention to a whole lot yesterday because I was trying to get all my stuff back. So, I had no idea. So it was funny when you brought that up. And then when I heard that, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. That's why he contacted me today. So, yeah,
on
makes
the blood
sense.
moon. So that's already letting you know something.
Yep.
So we're going to pray right now. Let's pray for against anybody trying to do any kind of witchcraft and necromancy towards us. Heavenly Father, at this time we'd like to pray for any unwanted visitors to come out of the blue, especially on a blood moon, if they have bad intentions or trying to cast spells or wish to send something our way. We do not accept or we're not inviting anything negative or unclean at this time. We as we place family spiritual process on us from head to toe, uh, place 70 spiritual crosses on everybody on that's here, uh, on our family members, from head to toe, from head to toe for protection. If there's anybody trying to come up against or send something our way, spiritually, we take authority. We tie bind and rebuke in Jesus Christ's name for whatever you're trying to do for you to fail and for it to remain on you because we don't accept any form of negativity any day of the month or any day of the year. We tie bind and rebuke you in Jesus Christ's name. This we pray to you, Heavenly Father. Amen.
Amen. Yeah. Incredible the way things happen. So is anybody else out there having any weird things going on this night of the blood moon?
And, the lady that contacted my sister, she ain't heard from her about 2 years, and she knew everything that what she's going through. Just put it that way. She knows everything of what my sister is going through,
Wow.
and she hasn't spoken to her in 2 years. She knows
Huh.
everything about her. How would that be, Sister Brenda? How would she,
Well,
how would she know everything about her of what she's going through?
I mean,
The only
either
way
she's a real
if
good
she's the one that's
stalker
Mhm.
or she's the one doing it.
she's the one doing it.
Yeah.
So when they come and check up on her to see how she's doing, they're trying to see if the spell, right, whether they initiated is still effective. So she didn't come by herself. She came with the mail, but that's all right. We already took care of it. Matter of fact, we place when the person that contacted me or not contacted me, I was supposed to go, but I was too tired. Uh, I seen their picture, how they look. We place 70 spiritual crosses on them from head to toe for anything they try to initiate or anything they try to do for it to remain with them, um, to cause confusion, for them to stumble, because we don't accept any form of negativity. We tie, bind, and rebuke them in Jesus Christ's name, any witchcraft or any necromancy, or whoever they're affiliated with. It doesn't matter how many they are. We place 70 spiritual crosses on all of them. We tie, bind, and rebuke them in Jesus Christ's name.
Yeah.
Amen.
There are some people that are just now coming in. We've got Juan and Bounty and Bueno. So everybody, he was talking about the blood moon out there and went through and read what it actually means. Uh, and it's
And,
horrible.
and it makes sense. What you went through,
Yep.
what happened today. Luckily, my sisters remember everything I tell them. I tell them, look, if they ask you how you're doing right off the bat, and or they're acting strange, be careful because most likely they're trying to transfer something to you or do something. Especially you haven't seen it in a long time. So they weren't prepared. They put holy water on themselves and prayed before they went to wherever they were going to meet them. Yeah, you got to stay prayed up at all times.
Yeah. It's kind of suspicious. Now wait and see. Now I'm going to wait and see how long it is again before this person contacts me again, because like I said, it's been a long time. So we'll see.
So long you don't come knocking on your door and says, "Hey, it's me. Can you open up?"
Yeah, that person lives in Texas too, so that would be a bad idea on his part. Really bad idea.
You're like, "You sure? Just open the door and stick your head stick your head right in."
Nope, sorry, can't do that. My dog will run out the door.
No, you got to remember, brothers and sisters, they're just me playing around. Got to remember that there's unclean spirits. that can mimic voices and pretend to be somebody.
Yes.
So if you tell them come on in, guess what you're doing? If they're mimicking a voice.
Yeah. I you know, I have a mat outside my door, but it does not say welcome. It says nothing on it. It is just a mat to wipe your feet on, and that's it. I will not place a welcome mat outside my door. My landlord had got me this really cute little thing to hang on the door outside, but it said welcome on it, so I will
Hmm.
not put it out there. So, because all you're doing is you're inviting in. Everything that is out there will think that it is welcome in your house. You're inviting it in. So I don't keep welcome mats outside my door. No, nothing is
Didn't,
invited.
didn't restaurants used to have a welcome in sign?
Yes, they used to. Now they just put those black rubbery
Oh,
ones out
the
there.
quote is open.
Yeah.
Wouldn't open be considered the same as welcome in?
Um.
You know how I talk about don't leave
Yeah.
no spiritual openings.
Yeah. I would. Well, yeah, I think so. But then that would also eliminate their closed and welcome signs. Or closed and open signs, I should say.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, yeah, they used to have them out there where they said, "Welcome to whatever establishment it was." And then they got rid of those, and they just got the black ones, the non skid ones. They did get those, and but that's about it. Now they don't have welcome on there anymore. So yeah, I don't know. But they've been doing things like this to fool us. Language, everything. Our the way we speak, it's all been generated for their agendas. So there are things that we say, and I'm not even talking about cuss words, just average everyday things that we say that we don't think about because it's how we were brought up to speak. But yet, when you stop and you think about what it is that you just said, then it's like, whoa, wait a minute. So, strange, strange world we live in. And when
it's
you
kind of like
start,
yeah,
huh?
it's kind of like they say that somebody rings the doorbell and you're expecting somebody to come and then you're like, come on in, and then nobody comes in. You go check the door and there's nobody outside because the people are supposed to come over are not there yet. Does that ever happen to you?
Yeah, actually, and I've had other people that, well, we're right around the corner. We'll be there in a minute. And somebody will knock on the door, and I'm expecting them, and they're not there. It's somebody else.
Yeah,
So, it's like, well, I thought you were right around the corner.
you could have been dealing with a Central Texas shapeshifter skinwalker.
Good possibility. I mean, I've had people come to my door that I had one girl come to the door in the middle of the night one night, and she knocked on the door and she asked us if we lost a little black chihuahua
Wow.
in the middle of the night. But she didn't have it in her hands. So what was that all about? Yeah. I really have a trust issue in trusting too many people, you know. But I think that it's for a good reason, you know. I mean, if you go around, you know, uh trusting anybody and everybody, who knows what could happen, you know? You know, Abe, see if Scott wants to come up and talk about some of this too. I'm gonna back out for now and eat.
Okay.
My dinner is ready. I haven't eaten all day, and I took
Oh
insulin,
wow.
so that's a bad thing that I took
Okay.
insulin. So, but
Okay.
then I'll come back if you guys are still on when I'm done, which you should
That's
be.
fine.
So, all right, I will see you in a bit.
All right.
All right, bye.
Enjoy your dinner.
All right, thanks.
Okay, I dropped the link there. Scott Baker is talking about 72 words containing devil. Uh, I don't think it's is Dartman Mark doing that. That's knocking on the doors. It's more of unclean spirits, demonic spirits, unclean spirits, demonic spirits that do that. That they knock. They're not going to snatch you up. But when you open the door, it's like you it's if they're not there, it's like, and you didn't do the sign of the cross. Then if it's something there in spirit, it could enter your home or it could even enter you. So that's why it's important to do the sign of the cross to block from anything trying to come in. And then you do another sign of the cross before you close the door and say, hey, if there's anything, is there anything here? Welcome outside my, welcome outside my home or inside my home. Leave now. You have to take authority over it and send it away. Yeah, spiritual warfare is very real, brothers and sisters. That battle is a constant battle. Dealing with the balance between good and evil is just a constant thing, man. There's good people, there's bad people, and this is what this world is about. It's kind of like reminds me about the movie with this Scott Baker with Clint Eastwood, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I remember that movie with Clint Eastwood, the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's how spiritual warfare is. You got good people, you got bad people. And, it's crazy. How you doing, Scott?
Hey, Abe, how are you, buddy?
Well, I see you got your werewolf shirt on.
Well, it's the hockey team that used to be in Phoenix, the Coyotes. Now they're up at the they got transferred up to the Utah. It's called Utah Hockey Club.
You remember
So
this shirt?
no, I don't, because I kept trying to find out that thing, and my computer kept getting so slow I couldn't find it. And I
You
was
remember
thinking it was.
this movie?
Yeah,
It-
I thought it was the Battle of the Planet of the Apes, like somebody had said, and I going, well, you're giving the
no,
science fiction and stuff, and
this is the War of the Gargantuans.
I never saw that. I'm gonna have to watch that movie.
Damn, brother, this is around this is from 1967.
Well,
The Battle of the
uh,
Gargantuans.
I remember seeing the title, but I never watched it. Um, Yeah, I was into the Godzilla movies and stuff like that. You know, that was on like a black and white TV. And then after I'd be like 6 or 7 years old watching those movies, and I'd go out with a can of spray, like bug spray, and pretend I was Godzilla and go out and spray, you know, the bugs, you know, like it was my fire coming out of my mouth. You know, I was lucky I didn't turn the can the other way around and spray my mouth. You know.
So, what do you think about the Blood Moon, brother? I know you're listening
Well,
to what we're talking about.
there's a lot of biblical. They're saying something about, you know, the blood moon is going to be over Jerusalem, and you know, it's that red heifer business, you know, with the cow and the sacrifice and all this, you know, type of biblical, you know, prophecy, connotation about it all. I don't really read into it. I mean, you know, I've been, when I was in Indonesia, there was a total solar eclipse, and I was in this place called Cilacap, which was where Borobudur. It's like the largest Buddhist temple, and I was there over in '83. It was, and I just remember everything turned yellow. And, you know, all the birds started chirping like it was bed, you know, ready for bed for them. But as far as the blood moon goes, and I don't really pay too much attention to a lot of it. But, you know, there's a lot of stuff out there, you know, on, you know, the, you know, people that are, you know, researching all that sort of thing. But I don't really get too much into it, you know. I'm just like, you know, whatever interest, you know, that I'm into, I just kind of listen to Jesus, you know, to see like what's the next topic, you know, because, you know, Jesus Christ actually leads you on this computer, you know, like what to look at, what to research, what to put up on a shelf, and you know, it's very interesting. The blood moon stuff, they're saying a big earthquake, maybe California earthquake. You know, and that's also been prophesied by a lot of, you know, biblical pastors and, you know, prophets and that sort of thing too, you know, the great California earthquake. So, I mean, people are like looking at that right now for tomorrow, you know. So, I don't know. You know, dates always come and go, and, you know, that's the thing. You just have to be vigilant about it. And, you know, earth changes and all that stuff, you know, it's constantly happening. And you just have to, you know, don't get stressed out about it. So that's how I look at stuff like, you know, the blood moon. I don't know, you know. I mean, I've looked stuff up about that. And, I mean, I don't see anything super outstanding about, just something about over in Israel about the blood moon. But again, it's, you know, it's a here or there situation. You know, saying the Lord's going to come back and all that stuff. Well, you know, the thing of it is, we don't know the time or day. So it's a hidden, you know, it's a hidden, even the angels, they don't even know. So, you know, and then there's also, you know, the equation of the pre-rapture, the rapture, or the non-rapture. You know, there's a lot of controversy about all that stuff biblically, I'm just saying. So I just say, you know, research it all, put it up on the shelf. Don't worry about it. Just listen to the Holy Spirit. And because that's the best, you know, that's your only hope is, you know, because like I said, that one story I had, whether it was an angel or whatever it was, a guardian angel, whatever it was, when I won that lottery in California, I hear audibly in my ear, picked a second to the last ticket. And I won $5,000 to pay my truck off to move from California. And then less than a year later, the Northridge earthquake happened, in Oakland, California, which affected, where I worked in Santa Cruz. I wouldn't have had a job. All the city was left, every building was cracked because they have the old brick buildings. So I wouldn't have had a job. But again, just to let people know is when the time comes, you'll hear a voice audibly, to tell you where to go, what to do. And, I would listen to that voice. That's for sure. Yeah, I'll have to watch that movie, Abe. Yeah, because a lot of, it's all free on YouTube too. So, I'm always looking at, if I got nothing to do, I'm always watching movies or, watching a movie like 3 times, like Predator,
Yeah.
I just like that survival, like Rambo, First Blood. I like the survival type movies, because I put myself into that movie, like, what would I do, in the same situation. So, I mean, that's kind of like what I'd like is those, man against the elements, So I enjoy those kind of movies. But yeah, I'll have to check that movie out. So.
Awesome. You've probably seen it, you just don't remember.
I saw, I might have watched a little bit of it, but I watch a lot of those type movies, in the science fiction, especially science fiction was huge in the 50s. I mean, all those movies, they had Them, which was those ants that got radioactive and they grew in like gargantuan size, and then they had the army, tried to exterminate them and stuff. And, all those movies, and they were kind of quite scary. I remember being young and watching a lot of those science fiction movies, like on Outer Limits or, various other movies. And for a little kid, they were scary.
Yes.
I didn't really think Godzilla was very scary because I liked it because I always felt sorry for Godzilla, But I like all that, all that destruction on that, the bridges and the trains and everything crashing. Yeah, but speaking of full moons and lunar eclipses and stuff like that, that does affect. I know for a fact that I feel different with like a full moon. I feel drained. I feel like I have less energy when there's a full moon. I don't know why. I know it affects like tides, in the oceans and stuff. They'll have a lot of tide activity. But me, myself, when there's a full moon, I've noticed many times that, I just feel kind of lethargic, just kind of not that much energy. And I don't know what a blood moon does, but I've noticed like these full moons, they seem to affect my, just my energy level. I just feel kind of like something kind of taking energy away from me. I feel not lethargic, but just like, I don't know if it's spiritual or if it's just kind of just something like I feel it's not normal. I don't feel like normal. It's something like a draining energy or something of that sort. I don't know if anybody, that's listening that has the same thing, but that's what I felt. Unlike whether it be like what do they call different full moons, not a, I'm talking about like a harvest moon, and they have all these names for these full moons. And in Arizona, I mean, when you see these full moons, they seem very close in Arizona. And depending on what month of the year it is, but some of them are like they are really, really, really seem real close.
Yeah, well, it says that it's unclean spirits coming through the like radiation or something. That it spoils the food. When you think about that, you think about pestilence. If it's unclean, then a lot of things can happen during the blue moon. So that's why you have to stay spiritual ready, spiritually alert, because you don't know who's trying to come up against you spiritually.
We're just talking about moons and stuff. I remember I think it was like 1974. This is going way back, folks. And my brother-in-law and myself, we went out to see this lunar I don't know if it was a total lunar eclipse or what it was, but this is like when the moon passes, I think, like in front of the sun. Anyways, it got like kind of not really eerily dark like a solar eclipse, but him and I, we saw something, and this was in Pennsylvania. We saw a bright light, and it didn't have a jet trail or a contrail to it at all, and it was traveling from east to west. And we could have sworn it was like a cigar-shaped looking thing. I mean, it was way up there. And, we were saying, hey, that's a UFO, and we're watching this thing, and it was clear sky. I mean, there was no clouds, but this was during that lunar eclipse thing. And I don't know if that also changes the atmosphere, or you can see better when something like that happens. But anyways, we saw this, and we actually reported it. We called the airport, I think. My brother-in-law did. And, did you guys, see any white light coming out of, it was kind of like, it was like, traveling from east to west across the sky. And it was probably up like 35,000 feet or 45,000, something like that. And, but it was kind of like a cigar shaped looking thing with just no other lights, just a bright light in the front. And, and that happened during this lunar eclipse, and, nothing else really, nobody really reported it. We didn't see anything in the newspaper. And back then, people actually, there were a lot of reports that, that you would see them in a newspaper, which today nobody has. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think anybody really, everybody's on the internet for their news now. I don't know if people, even get the newspaper. So, but back then they used to have these, little write-ups about stuff like that. But I guess, technology and everything is, and with AI taking over, that's even worse. I don't know if you've noticed, Abe, it's this AI on YouTube is all typed in. Well, here's the thing. I was trying to find something for you, and I did send it to you on Messenger. But the problem was, Abe, is when I typed that in, if I wasn't super, super, super specific on trying to track down a certain video, it gave me all kinds of, videos, they showed me all these videos, but each video, it was a box which took up all in your computer, it takes up a lot of space in each page, and it takes forever for this thing to load. So almost like is not only is, and I suppose it's probably AI running this, but it's kind of like YouTube. It's the whole format of YouTube has changed where, if you put in, for example, let's say you put in Dogman, you'll get a bunch of cartoons, but it's not only that, unlike stuff, of that, but you get all kinds of different things, but the whole page is loaded and you can't, when you start to scroll down, it like takes forever to load those pictures, on your screen. And it's that's purposely done because they're trying to keep people from knowing the truth. They're throwing out everything muddle everything you're looking up, for. So, you have to be super specific on, if you're trying to track down, a certain video. Like I had mentioned before, I had mentioned to you, well, I think they scrubbed it, which means, they took it off the internet. And I think, I still believe that, meaning that you have, instead of scrubbing, is you have to put really specific wording, and it takes a long time to look at, when these topics come up that we talk about, you want to go back and see if it pertains, because a lot of the videos, you got on this, Abe, way a long time ago on this stuff. And, if you went back to try to look at something, or you had you talk with somebody about that, it might take you forever, to find something. It really makes you kind of almost give up. It used to take 5 minutes. Now it takes like an hour to look something up. It's just, and it's done purposely. I really think that, they're trying to slow down, by putting, all kinds of other videos in there. What the heck? What is a cartoon Dogman video got to do with, cryptids, right? It has absolutely no bearing at all. So, it's crazy. It's crazy. So.
You're just sitting here. I feel something's happening outside because I feel certain kind of energy. I don't know. And it's that I slept all day. I think the moon does affect certain people, a certain way. Whether it's a blood moon, an eclipse. Sometimes it gets the wild side out of somebody. They pretend to be something pretend to be like an animal or something. I guess that's where maybe the term Wendigoisms might come from those kind of moons but no, it's dealing with cannibalism and stuff. But yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of a lot of things happen to animals too, and yeah, it can go either way. But mine, I guess, I just wanted to repeat that I just feel kind of drained,
Yeah, that's how I feel right now.
Not and I don't know if that's, caused by the blood moon or whatever, but
that's okay. I got some extra protection here I'm fixing to put on. There we go. They put that extra protection around the neck. Maybe it's a shirt like our grandeur wants. It's an old movie. Yeah, it's crazy how people that you haven't seen in years want to surface up on the day of the blood moon. Why? Well, we know why they surface up in those days. If they're affiliated or dabbling in something, then we know where they're surfacing up, because most likely you're the target, and they just wanted to see if
Yeah.
whether whatever they're trying to do to you, if it's working. They want to know if your health is good or bad.
Yeah, I mentioned this narcissistic people, and I look back on my life, and I didn't know what that word meant until somewhat recently. I had to look it up, and there's a guy that does some research on that, and I remember that um, and I think it's something to do more with like like when you wake up, and and you wake up spiritually, that you keep it camouflaged, but then when you come in contact with other people, like your soul or your angel is kind of like, hey, this guy is, this is a hypothetical thing, and I'm just going to share this because I noticed one of these jobs I had in sporting goods. I always wanted to work in sporting goods, and I knew everything about sports. So not that I came across as a know-it-all on my job, but I noticed the people had this kind of this standoffish attitude towards me. Like they weren't friendly. They weren't, and these are the guys I told you once before, they started playing the tricks on me, and then I started doing that trick on that one guy. But these guys, it seemed like, I look back on that, meaning like, I think there's more of a spiritual soul, angelic interaction where let's just say the angel is saying to their guardian angels or to their soul or spirit, hey, this guy, he knows a lot about sports, and it kind of shifts into the flesh of these people, and then they become like like rebellious. They're like rebellion, spiritually against you, and I feel like that because in some of the like this job I had, which Abe, I always wanted to work, and I got this job, and I'm really believe that it's some kind of a spiritual connection that got me this job. But it's kind of like I knew everything about sports, every sport, and to be a salesperson, to help people on sports and stuff like, what to buy, whatever. And but I noticed the people that work with me, the employees, were like, they seem to be like jealous or prideful in such a way. Like they never really, there was only like, they had two stores, and there was another guy that was, different. And then he told me also when I won that lottery ticket that he goes, oh, you deserve that. But anyways, getting back to this spiritual connectiveness, that if like, okay, let me ask you this, Abe. Here's the question I'm trying to get to, I guess. So you have this history of spiritual warfare behind your belt. Okay, you have years and years and years of experience. Okay, so have you noticed like some of the people like you come up to, and they and we could say they either they don't want to interact with you, they walk away, they shift their eyes, they look at you and look down, or all these kinds of things, like like you always say, I'm a good person, I'm a good person, you want to be friends, but that they got this standoff thing that's going on. Like their spirit is like either now, they're either immature spirituality, and they want nothing to do with that high powered, spirituality that you have, you know? I mean, have you noticed that? I mean, what's your feeling on that? What have you come across like that? You know, just normal people, like,
Well,
you know,
that's part of the balance. You get pulled to the left, you get pulled to the right. It's still when you finally realize what's going on, and you have to make the step to see where you want to get aligned with. And sometimes some people, they try both. They do the thing of the balance of the negative side, and then sometimes they want to go back to the good side. But so long they're believing things of the balance from the negative side, it's hard for them to get pulled into the light, or into
I think that they're
the heavenly
spiritually,
side. They have a what do you call it, a divided spirit, because
yeah,
they're stuck with two personalities. We've seen that a lot, right? Where the individual has like two personalities. They could be talking about Jesus Christ one moment, the next thing you know, boom, they're talking about a whole completely different thing. But it's dealing with a balance.
yeah,
It's called negative attachments. You
I
know.
think that some people can be spiritually intimidated, and that
yeah,
is part of what Abe was just sitting there saying,
yeah.
that you know it's and it happens. Okay, so I think that's what the problem was with the people you worked with, because you did know so much, they felt intimidated.
Well,
Instead of
yeah,
learning from you, they
yeah.
felt intimidated.
But I wasn't overly, like know-it-all-ish,
Right.
but I think it was more invisibly spiritual, Brenda, like I just felt like, why aren't these people, I would say to myself under my breath, why aren't these people nice? Like, they're, and I didn't know, like back then you had to count money. Now counting money, folks, is when you're on the register. Okay.
Right.
Now today they give you $50.25. And now people put in $50.25, and then it'll say what you owe them back. Right.
Right.
Well,
Right.
back in those days, I had to count money, and I was pretty green on that. Because I was going to college, and I didn't know how to count money. I didn't know how to subtract, because I was using calculators in my whole life, and I didn't know how to count and subtract. But anyways, that was the hardest thing I had to overcome. But what I'm getting to is it's kind of like, it was, I look at these things so much spiritually now, not physically, but really spiritually, looking back on your life. And everybody should do that. Go back on their life and see, who they worked with at a job or whatever, and say, like, did people, did they love you, or were they just cold to you, or did they, like Abe was saying, they're in that spirit that they're playing both sides, and, but, I just, this whole thing about this narcissistic type research, or I'm listening to a lot of different topics on that it seems like, and it's not that they're necessary, to have demon attachments or anything like that, but it's just something that, or it may be, but it seems, like I look back on that job, and there was only one guy because I worked at two stores, and and it was one guy that said, like, and he was kind of like a kind of guy, he was easygoing and kind, and I don't know what it was, but it was kind of like, I was telling Abe I won this lottery ticket in California, and I heard a whisper in my ear, take a second to the last ticket, but it was like a male, female type voice. I couldn't tell whether it was a male or a female. But it instructed me to take the scratch off ticket, and I won $5,000. and to pay off my truck. And then, after that, I moved, and the earthquake happened in Northridge, in California. But the guy at the other store said, "Oh, you deserve that ticket." Meaning, like, I think back on saying, like, I'm talking spiritually here. What he's using, his words, is his spirit is telling me out of his mouth, "You deserve that," meaning, like, you deserved it because God's got another plan for you, and he wants you out of California, ASAP, So, but yeah, this thing about, people being like, and I've had friends here too that the same thing, but also, another friend, this Hispanic guy, was him and I were like brothers. We spoke spiritually things. We spoke about spiritually things, and we would predict things that were going to happen or whatever, and we had like a bond. You know what I mean? So what is weird? What's going on here? When you have that bond with somebody, and the other person or the other people, that you don't have the bond. What's going on here?
Okay, there are two different ways. Okay, Abe has, like he says, the Heavenly Love Foundation. Okay, I always say for everybody to be kind to everyone. Okay, but however, I do have to take caution to the wind in certain things, because and trusting is hard, because it's one of those things where if you trust too much, you're going to get hurt from it. You're going to get attacked from it. So, but you should always be kind to people. And so people like that, apparently they just don't know how to do that, because you never know. I've seen some of these videos where they've had a guy broke down the side of the road and people just go by him and turn their nose up, but then there'll be that one person that will say, "Hey, do you need help?" And then they would help that person would leave, and then that person would turn into Jesus. So you never know who you're going to run across, and what test you're going to be given in life. So, you should always be a kind person. Now, I can be untrusting, but still be kind about it, just to watch my own feet,
Right.
And I want to say something about all these moons. Do you know that they all affect everybody differently? Because it dawned on me after I got off of here. Older people that have dementia, when there's a full moon, it makes them mean. It makes them lose their minds. Like, they don't remember things. They are just nasty towards you and all that stuff. So I think that these moons affect people differently. But if you,
very true.
yeah, if you cannot, be kind to people, and there are a lot of people out there like that, Scott. There are people that, they think that they are above everybody else, no matter what you may or may not know. And, especially nowadays, and it has to do with a lot of the way they're being raised nowadays. The people nowadays, a lot of these young adults and kids, they have no respect for anybody. They're the only thing that matters: how they look, how they speak, what they get. And it's sad. It is really, really sad. But that's the way it is now.
Well, all these different channels and people, like this whole narcissistic topic I'm just going to bring up. It's a big topic that, because it really gets down to the nuts and bolts of the spirituality, how people, react, or where they are spiritually, kind of. And so, I just like to reflect, on the show about my experiences, as they, relate to, different jobs or different people, that, your workmates or your friends or, that sort of thing. And to me, it's kind of, you know, it's kind of rough out there, when you're like in my shoes is like, it's not that I can't find friends, but in my life I've only had like two best friends, in my life, like, they would help you for whatever. No, maybe three. And I mean, it's kind of like, we live in this world where it's kind of, it's tough. It's tough to interact. I mean, right now, I don't know if you know, Brenda, it is so hard to interact with people. Like, I want to like share, the spirituality, stuff, but it's almost like, it's like, yeah, it's like what you're saying. You're kind, but you're not trusting of, of what you're getting into or whatever. And it's just weird when you just meet people, you go out and meet these people or do different stuff with people, how I don't know, it's like, man, it's like, something happened to me and I'm going like to this other guy I was talking to, I said, well, I'm not going back, to that place anymore because, I didn't want to say that she's got some sort of baggage or some kind of attachment going on, but it was kind of like, again, it's like the spiritual attack, I don't know how to explain that. I don't want to go too much in detail, but it's like people, today they seem like, what's going on in politics and so forth. I mean, even my family, I can't really get a debate going, as far as, the spirituality thing. And they're in different religions. My family's in whole different religions.
Yes.
Okay. All different religions. And I can't even like get into that with them. They won't like open the door up, they're like stuck. They're stuck in their,
A lot of times, Scott, people will make that decision when God says it's time for them to make that decision. Okay?
Yeah.
Sometimes there are things better left unsaid. Like if you go someplace and you don't like, because that's happened to me, and I don't like the word that they have put out, and what they were trying to get at was like, no, totally against anything I believe. I won't tell somebody, well, I ain't coming back here because that I will just leave it left unsaid and not go back. Okay. So people I'm faced with it all the time with my daughter. My daughter doesn't believe in heaven, hell, the devil, God, nothing. Okay. But she wasn't raised like that. So I tried. And when I tried, she pushed me away even further. Well, I don't want that to happen. So what I did instead was now I don't speak to her about it. I pray for her. I ask the Father to please find a way to make her see him. Okay. Now, my daughter had a really rough time in life one time, and she told me, I don't know who I pissed off. And the only thing I said was, God. And she said, what? I said, maybe you need to sit down and take a good look at yourself and do some real good soul searching. And you need to just sit and think about things in life and how they've played out. I'm not going to tell you what you should and shouldn't do. That's up to you. But all I'm saying is obviously the way you're doing it isn't working. And I left it at that without throwing too much of a religious rope to her. Let her think on her own. Okay? Because there's only so much you can do before people push you away. And if they push you away and they lose contact with you, what's going to happen if they get to that point in life where they need you there and they can't find you. So you are just better off taking the higher road and stepping back and letting them do what they're doing, because eventually God's going to show them the way to figure it out. You know, you gotta let it go and let it go to God.
I'm waiting for that, to happen. I got my, I've got, I'm the fifth in the family, and one of my brothers passed away from dementia, and I think, there's a lot of things now, or Alzheimer's, dementia, Alzheimer's. I think they're the same thing, isn't it?
Oh, one's a little bit different than the other.
Yeah. Well, he passed away kind of early in his life, and anyways, but it's they have a lot of cures now for different stuff, for that sort of thing,
Parasites.
which he didn't have, back then. And but anyways, getting back to this family of mine, not to get too in depth, but they're all spiritually, have their own, spirituality, religion, core, let's just say, and but it's kind of like, it's they know I'm kind of quote a Christian, so I always had that feeling like, well, they have the wrong thought process about what a Christian is, what their what their mindset is, is what what I'm talking about. They're thinking, the people that are going to these mega churches and such and such, and I don't want to get too much into it, but it's so hard to even bring that out. Like, I'm not one of those. I'm like a Christian runner, a wolf. I'm like a Christian wolf. I mean, I'm like, I'm independent, all the way, and I only, I'm only, under the blood of Jesus Christ. And I don't say that to them, of course, but because they wouldn't probably get it. But it's kind of like, and that's my predicament, on my family. But getting back to this, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I do that. I kind of, I planted the seed, years ago and stuff. And, we'll see what God does, but that's all, that's all I can do. Right. Yeah. Because you don't want to get them pissed off,
Nope. And by telling somebody that what you believe is what they should believe is the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
Because that will anger them, because then they're going to say to you, well, how do you know that what I believe isn't what you should believe? And it's just going to start a whole rolling downhill thing. So, you put out there what you put out and let them take the rope or not. You can't force them to become something that's like going up to a Satanist and saying, hey, the devil's harming you. He's not giving you anything for life. And they say, well, yeah, he has. I got this new car, this house, all this money. You cannot make somebody change the way they believe if they do not want to change themselves.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and there's so many. There's so much temptation out there, and mind control techniques. That, oh my gosh, man, I tell you, it's mind blowing how you really. I mean, in the era that we live in, let's face it. I mean, it's really tough to get the people now. I mean, people are so mixed up, and but I can tell you for a fact, there's many instances that I've run into that I'll be in line with somebody, or I'll walk out of Walmart and the guy's checking your sales slip, and then I'll see a cross on his on his neck or something, and I'll end up like him and I will start talking like for like 10 minutes, and people are like walking by with their sales stuff. But it's kind of like, not that the cross attracts like a conversational piece, but it is something that I mean, one instance and several others about, especially I'm for some reason minorities, like that I seem to get more, like if I'm steel, they're like a magnet, and like we'll start up a conversation and it'll get spiritually, it'll lead to Jesus Christ or something. It's very strange. Not that, I mean, I'm a white Caucasian guy, but it's I find that very hard, and because mainly the white Caucasian people are in that, that church matrix. And, if you say anything different than what, they believe in, I mean, it's, they're almost worse than an atheist,
Yeah.
So, but it's kind of like, I think, the minorities, it's almost like, they have an inferior complex, like about jobs and their race or their color. And so it's almost like a persecution. So, they have, they have more of a skin like a rhinoceros, like they're more open to like what's going on. That's what my belief is, they're more aware and they research more because, they see a lot of things being done to them in the history, in the past. And, they're told by their parents too, and that sort of thing. So, the white Caucasian race is kind of, not that they've had it easy, but they're also in part of this matrix that, that they haven't been around a lot of minorities. Because when I grew up, I was in a school like it was 50% minority. So, and my best friend, in third grade was black, and I had a Southern accent, and him and I were best friends in the school, which was primarily white. They only had 2 black students, but the only guy I got along with was him, because we were both kind of like minorities. I spoke, I had a Southern accent, and he was African American, So, even back then, there was some kind of a racial, discrimination going on, even back then. So
it was set aside for quite a while, and then it got dredged back up with Obama.
Yeah.
So now we're fighting this stuff all over again. And me, I don't look at people for their color of their skin or the way that they speak or anything like that. I like people for who they are inside, and how they treat others.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not a debate with me at all. I grew up in Los Angeles. I went to school with all walks of life. Like I think I even said on here one time before, I met and used to go out with an Arab that was in California. I mean, he was a kind, gentle person who cared about other people and didn't want to go home, wanted to stay here, but there are people good and bad on both sides of any coin. I mean, it doesn't matter what color they are. It doesn't matter what language they speak. They're good and bad on both sides, period.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's why the devil walks this earth. That is why he does what he does, because he puts the division and he puts the fear and all of that. And if people would just push the division aside and get down to being human beings again and care about each other, care about our country, it doesn't matter who they are. The
Right,
world would be
exactly.
a better place if that happened. You know, if it's bad, lock it up. If it's not, well, then, hey, combined and be one with everybody. But there's so much wrong right now that people have forgotten how to be people. People have forgotten how to love, care, and it is a very, very sad situation when people forget who they are.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you.
So, I mean, it's like, okay, when Jesse first got sick, I cried because I know what he's going through, because I went through the same exact thing a few years ago. And I couldn't get the therapy, so I had to do it all on my own. And it was hard, but I did it because why? I'm a fighter. Well, so is Jesse. But I cried because I knew right now, that first night, he was probably doing exactly what I was doing, laying in bed, praying, and just feeling like he had been given a really bad hand for being a good person. But I learned real quick that I always get that saying in my mind that God does not give you anything you can't handle. Okay? The Father does not give you things that you can't handle. Something somewhere down the line, there was a lesson to be learned with what happened to me. And I know what that lesson was. I found it out. And that lesson was stop running around being a fool and quit drinking. You don't need no alcohol. Put it down. That was my lesson. Get away from sodas. Get away from sugar. Get away from this. That was my lesson. And I struggled and worked hard to get through that lesson. And here I am now. And I wanted, matter of fact, I think I went to Gilbert. I messaged Gilbert and I said, he said, I'm going to see Jesse tomorrow. I said, good. I said, you tell him that I said that when he is ready, if he needs somebody to talk to, because I've already been there and done that, he is more than welcome to contact me. I have no problems with it at all. And you
Yeah.
tell him that I will keep all of his Scooby snacks warm. and he said that. Jesse laughed. So, but so
Yeah.
I love people, okay? And people that have Jesus in their life, I love them even more. And it what people don't realize is that's something that you should band together with, because all of us are human and we all make mistakes. And sometimes we may take a step back, and we need those people to help reel us back in. And that is that means more to me than it would to most people I know. You know, I do my shows, I get tired, but I will still come here and I will be here around these people that I care so much about, because they are just wonderful people. The people in the chat, everybody that gets on the panel, Abe, Jesse, wonderful people. And sometimes I may have been that day thinking, God, why am I still here? Well, guess what? That means I need that spiritual little balance again. So I come here and I get that. And I get that strength. And I get that hope. So I could be dog tired. And there are some times I will tell you, I will take my medicine and I'll sit here at my computer with my earbuds in and I will listen to Abe. I'll listen to Jesse. I'll fall asleep at my desk listening to them, but I wake up and they're still there. And it's okay. But, I mean, this is a good place to be. And whenever I see new people that find this channel and they say, hey, I just found this channel. Yes, it's good for us to check them out and make sure they are who they say they are because of all the things that have happened. But I'm glad when I see new people come in here. And I think to myself, I hope they come back, because this is a very good place to be. Spiritually, it is. So
Well,
maybe,
Especially with the times, the way the times are right now. You got to be. I just try my best to bring spiritual awareness so people could understand what's going on. Like my sisters, I've been telling them, the thing spiritually for a while, until it's been like 10 years, and now they're seeing what I'm talking about, because
yeah,
they're able to see spiritually now, and now they understand, so it's just something that you have to have that relationship with Jesus Christ so he can bless you
yeah,
with the spiritual gift discernment. Then you can tell who's who. You can tell who are the good spirits, and you can tell who are the ones that have bad intentions towards you,
yes.
because the Heavenly Father will show you.
Have you thought about, Scott, maybe take the least one on the totem pole of arguing with you about certain religions, and instead of talking to them, say, hey, man, I found this podcast. I really like these people. They're so welcoming. And maybe just turn them on to a podcast. Turn them on to Abe's podcast.
Well, not one of my family members,
Oh,
but I do mention, to some of my acquaintances of my hobby, that his channel,
yeah.
and I haven't seen him on here yet, but I do say that, I go, I'm always mentioning to people, and, you have to kind of be careful a little bit, too, but not that I'm joking around with the people, but I go, I'm involved with, is a podcast on biblical, but also as it relates to, these cryptids or word, whatever word I'm saying out of my mouth, because I'm trying to show them, like, does that interest you? Because that's who, these are the people that I want to hear a response from. Like,
Right.
hey, I love that. I haven't heard that before, because you're not going to hear that, but that's the people that I want to hear a response from them. And I do say that. I mean, I'm going out on a limb, but I say that, and I go, I'm up at 2:00 in the morning,
I have two categories. I have two categories. If I see somebody for spiritual, I will guide them here. And even if it's spiritual cryptid, I will guide them here. If they want stern, those stories, what people have done, I point them to PRT, because eventually they're going to be back here. So you've got to measure people on how they live their lives, so to speak. And if it's somebody who is struggling spiritually, it is good for that person to be around Abe's channel. Very good. Because even though I know that Josh and Nellie are also spiritual people with Jesus, he's more of a stern person, where everybody here is caring and loving and supportive in Jesus. So you have to pick which battle you're going to point them to. And if you think that they really need a spiritual boost in life, they need to hear the word, they need that, then you point them this way. If they're just somebody who wants to hear, all the stories about this and that and stern people, point them to Josh, because eventually they're going to end up in both places.
Right.
But it's where you put them first.
Yep.
Because that's how I found PRT, was through Abe's show. There are people in PRT that found Abe through PRT. So it's kind of like a big bounce around.
I was at I went to go eat breakfast at right across the VA at the, what's the name of the place? Bill's Grill. And I was sitting down there, and then there was this old lady. She had to be like in her 80s, and her husband was a veteran, and she was looking at me, and she said, "I know that guy right there. He's got a podcast." And she got her on her phone, and she was showing her husband, and her husband was looking, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's him." I still have my shirt of I think I had done a Werewolf Wednesday, and I had my shirt of a werewolf on. But she said, "I know who he is. He does podcasts. Who's gonna?" I was like, "Man, how she?" I guess she woke up
Easy.
and see me late at night, but she knew who it was.
Wow.
She was looking at me. She was showing her husband on the phone of the Spiritual Encrypted Encounters.
Oh my gosh.
That's pretty neat when that happens. I've had one person do that, and then there's been others that I have seen that do their podcast that I've seen and went, "Oh, hey, I know you from your podcast," So, yeah, I mean, the thing of it is when you do podcasts like this, and the more that you do with other podcasts, the more it gets everybody around. So it's not like one channel has to struggle on its own. It spears out with others, and that's a really good thing. I mean, some of the people that I have that subscribe to my channel that watch me, I picked them up from years ago when I used to do a podcast with somebody else, and then they just followed me over there because I changed the dynamic of what I was doing for a podcast. So
I was at HEB one time, Sister Brenda, and there was this teenager girl followed me from aisle to aisle, and she's just looking at me. Man, what's the matter with the girl? And I'm looking at myself, like, do I got the wrong pair of shoes on or something? Do I have my shorts on, or am I in my boxers? And I'm looking. Then I go to the meat section, and then the little girl standing there with her mother, and she's like, "My daughter knows you. Did you come out of the show? This was so haunted season 3." She's telling me about the show. This was so haunted. I said, "Yes, okay, that's me." I said, "Can she take a picture with you?" And I took a picture with her right there at the HEB. But it's just weird when things like that happen.
Yeah.
But then I love helping out people that are going through things. That's what we're supposed to do. There's times where somebody is going through something, and then the unclean spirit will say, "Don't help them," but then I still help them, and I get rid of the negative attachment that they have. But I'll let you speak, Brenda. Sorry about that.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. Maddie brought up a good point and said it's always best for us to all come together, and it is. It makes that life grow in Christ, and it gets bigger the more that we spread it and we share. So this way we're not going one-on-one with somebody saying, well, Jesus is the only way for you to get to heaven. And they're looking at you going, okay, and they walk away. No, everybody's doing it as a whole. And it is great when it is that big, when it grows and grows and grows. And that's the best way to do it. And this is a good way to do it.
Sister Ivy said, "Is my zipper down?" Well, that happened to me one time. That I guess the zipper was faulty, and I'm at a Walmart, and I see this two older women just following me around, and I didn't know what's going on. And then I was like, man, why they keep on staring at me? And I look down, my zipper's wide open. It's like, oh
Oh.
shit.
I've seen somebody like that in the store too, and I walked
But
up to him and
the
kind of
zipper had
whispered.
broken, had busted. You know, it's like I tried to zip it back up, so I had to, cover myself up with my hand and get what I had to get and get the hell out of there. You know.
I had that happen one time. I was in a store and I seen a guy walking around with his zipper down, and I just kind of was shopping, and he happened to have been coming opposite of me. So I stopped and I looked at him, and he looked over at me, and I said, "Just to let you know, the flies are getting out." And he's like, "Oh,"
Uh,
and he didn't
Well,
have any, and he didn't have any undies on.
oh man.
But I just couldn't let him keep walking around like that. Somebody may have
So
called him a
so
pervert,
was it
poor guy.
was it a gecko trying to escape or an iguana trying to escape?
I think it might have been a gecko. I don't know. I wasn't looking too hard. I just know that he needed a shave and a haircut.
Oh my god. He looked like Larry from Three Stooges.
Are you a werewolf underneath there?
I want to chime in too. I had a pair of jeans, and this was at work, and I got caught a couple times. Said your zipper's down, and I'm going like, what is going on with this zipper? Well, it was defective. I would zip it up, and for some reason, it wouldn't catch. So when you're moving around, it would just like always come down. I swear to God, true story. I mean that I'm going like this zipper. I gotta get. I'm not even going to wear these jeans anymore because you get in and out of a truck and you're moving around and maintenance and so forth, and people are saying like your zipper's. I mean, it's so embarrassing. Your zipper's down. And oh my God.
Oh
But
man.
the zipper, I zipped it up, and then I noticed like I zipped it up and down. I'm going like it's not catching. For some reason, there's a tooth missing in it or something, and the thing keeps just, it'll slide down. And I'm going like, oh my God, no, that's so embarrassing.
I seen a
Oh
woman.
my God.
There was a woman at Walmart one night, and apparently she had bent over and split the seam of her pants, and she didn't know it. And do you not know that not one of these guys that were following this woman around would say anything to her? So I went up to her and I told her, and she's like, "Oh my God." I said, "And these perverts over here," and they all kind of separated and went their own way. Yeah. What was you looking at? They didn't even bother to tell the poor lady her whole entire hiney was hanging out of her breeches.
God.
I couldn't believe it. And I'm like, wow, boy, talk about man code, apparently. It was so bad. And I mean, it was not a little split. It was a big one. How she didn't get a breeze, I don't know. But, but yeah, it was pretty bad. Poor girl. She ended up leaving all her groceries there, and she took her hoodie off, tied it around her waist, and walked out the door. And I don't say that I blame her.
Hey, Abe, I got some really, really good news for you. Now, there's another podcast that I used to listen to, not the one that you went on, but there's another one that's like second in popularity. Okay. And I surf around a lot. So, again, I it's like the Holy Spirit like leads me to, the video at a certain time. And I have to tell you, Abe, what you're telling about now, our belief here about what these dogman werewolves are, Bigfoot, is this, they're able to make themselves invisible and go into another realm. They're not physical. They have the capability. And we all know that, right? Well, this second, I would say this is the second most popular one on that topic. I was actually listening. I went on, and as he was speaking, he goes, and I listened to the show many, 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 many times. And he was, under the belief that this was a flesh and a blood creature. So at that moment, he goes, I've come to the conclusion these are not flesh and blood creatures. And my jaw just dropped, going, oh my God, what is going on here? This guy, he had never said this before. And I was like in the right place at the right time. You know how that is, right? So I'm hearing this guy talk, and then I make a comment down below. I comment on there going like, it's glad that you believe in that now. I made some comment down like that. And, I was one of those people too until I came to your show. That's the thing too. I didn't know. But I did know a few things about, some of these footprints would disappear, and that's very interesting. When snow footprints disappear in the snow, where do they go? What's going on? But anyways, he's like got the second most popular show, that talks. And then, so he's finally come to the conclusion, hey, that what you believe in, wow. I mean, it's stupendous, and I was like, oh my God. I don't want to mention his channel at all, but anyways, I think what's happening is a lot of these people that do have these channels, they're realizing a lot of these, encounters that people have, these things are phasing out. They're phasing in portals. They're going through portals. That's another thing he mentioned. He goes, I believe they're coming through portals and they're interdimensional and they're not flesh. That's what he said. And I'm going like, my jaw dropped. And I'm going like, he had never, he never believed that before. So it was just ironic. Again, the synchronicity, right? I keep bringing up, like, why is Scott tuning in at that same time that he makes that decision? It's crazy. It's crazy. So I think, Abe, there is a shift going on that, that these creatures are demonic in nature. They're all demonic. And that's what he said too. And I'm going like, wow. I mean, is he listening to your show? I mean, like, what's going on here? I mean, it's so anyway, I thought he'd give you, not that it's great, good news or anything, but it's an awakening. It's an awakening that people and it's all, God's doing it. God's doing it,
Yes. God sent me on this mission a long time ago. I guess I went through what I went through so I can understand how they work and stuff like that. But I guess the bigger thing is to awaken my brothers and sisters in Christ and let them know what they're dealing with, what to do, the precautions to take, how to prepare themselves, whatever genre they're investigating, to pray before, during, and after, and everything you do when you pray against them or fight spiritually, it's got to be done through Jesus Christ. But yeah, I remember when I started doing this, and oh my God, people were coming at me. There were arrows flying everywhere. They're flying everywhere, coming at me from all different genres because,
I bet.
Oh, that guy, he's going to give us a bad reputation. He can't bring the spiritual aspect of that into this communities.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm just speaking the truth, my spiritual truth. Everybody's got a truth in their lives, right? So I'm just bringing everything to light. That was what I'm supposed to do. And there's some from those genres that allow me to they're my friends and they allow me to place like the videos there and stuff. Like, I don't have nothing against anybody. I'm just here to try to help out people that some of the people that are getting sick within these communities is because they have to prepare spiritually before, during, and after. These attachments can cause sicknesses. They can cause confusion. They can cause many things. That's why you have to take authority over them and rebuke them in Jesus Christ's name, so you can become better. Because if you don't do that, then they're just going to continue to keep you sick. You're going to feel that heaviness on you. I've been there where I've been walking. I'm a big guy. I weigh like 260, like 258, 260. And there's times when I will go exercise in the mornings that it feels like I'm weighing like 400 pounds because I feel weight on my shoulders. So just put it, I feel so much weight on me that when I finally make it home, the bottom of my feet are bruised up real badly because the DDN, right, are trying to attach themselves to it. So when I get home, I said, if there's anything trying to attach itself to me, you're not welcome. A tie binder rebuke in Jesus Christ's name, then the heaviness will go away. But you can see the effects on my feet where they've turned purple or even blistered up from the walk that I was doing. And the walk wasn't even that long. It's probably like half a mile walk, you know?
You know, I don't think that everybody is wrong on what they believe with these DDNs. Perhaps they do see them. It's just that they don't realize that they are spiritual. You know, that it. They think it's flesh and blood, but in all actuality, it is not. It is a demonic spiritual thing that they are saying, a demonic thing that they're saying, but they want to believe in all their heart that they can just sit down and play, a game of cards with Bigfoot. Invite him over for
You
coffee.
gotta put the spirit to the test spiritually.
Yeah,
That's why you tie binder rebuke in Jesus Christ's name. You're gonna see that Bigfoot or Dogman or whatever you're seeing, it's gonna vanish. It's gonna disappear. When he disappears, whether there's a white puff of smoke, it smells like sulfur, or whether it smells like pestilence and there's black goo on the ground, then you're gonna know that it was something demonic.
yep.
That is, when it disappears, it flees, so it goes back to where it comes from, to its whether it's going through a dimension, just disappearing. It's going where it's coming from.
All right. Hey,
But you put it to
Jaime.
the test. Yeah.
Jaime finally decided to wake up.
Well, also, Abe, it brings the whole Bible, where a lot of these shows, you had the arrows coming at you, but I don't know if you mentioned Bible to these people. You might have. I don't know. I haven't heard any of those, those shows way back when. But, when you bring Bible into this mix, it's, these people get like unbelief. So, bringing the Bible, into these shows, also because the scripture, when you start to, to read about it is, the fallen angels and, the creatures and the demonic spirits being casted out. It all is related to what's going on. So, I think it's just people are kind of ignorant that, they haven't opened up the Bible or they haven't been taught anything. I didn't know any of this stuff until somebody taught me the Bible. And, and then I read a lot of stories about all this stuff because, and that's how I learned. But, to somebody that's coming up, with these scripted shows, 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever, you bring the Bible into it and it's like, it doesn't make any sense to those people because they may not have then been introduced to it, because, it's, when you have a podcast and you have a show, it's very hard. You have guests on and, you don't have time. You don't have time to do that. So, but I think it's creeping in now that this whole biblical angle to these paranormal, cryptids and so forth, it's snowballing. It's snowballing and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And like I said, that one guy he changed. He's got a different point of view now. So, what's he going to do now? But I think, I think that his show will probably continue and everything, but, at least he said that and people will start, they'll start realizing and waking up, and checking out the Bible or whatever and the power of the name of Jesus Christ. And, because it's, there's so many religions out there, and that people believe in what they believe too. So people are watching those shows too and being misguided. Then that's a big thing. Of course, our government, school system, they take the Bible out of all that, and people are ignorant, of it all. I was certainly ignorant, that's for sure, about it all.
And there are people, that I never understood when I went to church, when they read the Bible, how they would like take one verse out of one book and then skip through, 3 or 4 books and go into another one and then take another verse out of that one. I never understood why they only read them verse by verse. So it was up to me to get into the Bible and start reading it page by page. And once I did that, I started seeing a lot of things made more sense, because I wasn't just getting a verse here or a verse there from who knows where, but I was actually able to read what led up to that verse and what came after it, which made more sense. So my teachings of the Bible when I was growing up wasn't the best.
I don't think any of us,
Yeah, and I don't know why they do that.
Even if you went to seminary and whatever too. I mean, what about those people? They, you bring up werewolves, to a seminary student, they're gonna look at you like deer in the headlights.
Like you're crazy.
Like,
yep.
Are you crazy? Yeah, and that's probably
But there's stuff like that in the Bible, though.
Man, I know,
but they keep people away from that aspect of the Bible.
Exactly. So that's why I'm really drawn to this cryptid, because I love cryptids, and then I love the spiritual. Wow, putting two together, that's for me.
So
well, I think I'm going to sign off here. I got a gig in the morning here, so that was fun. So
thank you, Brother Scott. Yeah, I got an appointment in the morning myself.
And yeah, I've got an appointment tomorrow too. So, all right, thanks, Brenda and Abe. Appreciate it, and everybody online and making comments. Thank you. So I'm signing off. Bless you all. See ya.
Good night, Scott.
Good night, brother.
Yeah, I'm supposed to have one tomorrow too. Hopefully it's not real early. I have to check again.
Yeah, mine's early. I think I have my appointment at 8 or 9. I think 9 o'clock.
Oh no. That's kind of early. Well, I will get off of here then so that you can get ready to wrap it up, so you might be able to make your appointment in the morning.
Yeah. Nope, I messed up the other one. I went early in the morning, and it didn't have one in the morning. It was in the afternoon. So I went to sleep, but I didn't wake up in time for the afternoon one, which was the Friday. So hopefully I won't miss this one.
Hey, I've gone in on time already for my appointment just to have them tell me, that's not till next week. What?
Yep. That's what happened to me.
Yeah.
I went Friday, and they're like, see you on Monday.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
all right. Well, I will let you go. Thanks for having me back on. And
good night, Sister Brenda.
Good night, and I hope everything goes well with your appointment tomorrow.
Yeah, it's just what is it, podiatry or something?
Oh,
something simple. Nothing.
The foot doctor.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will talk at you later on tonight, probably.
Alrighty. You have a good one.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Well, there you go, folks. I hope you enjoyed the show. See what we talk about later on tonight for Monday night. Then we had a pretty good show. We're talking about the blood moon. If those they tune in a little bit late, you can check out what we were talking about at the beginning, things of the blood moon and stuff like that. How sometimes people that use like a change of, whether it's an eclipse or a blood moon, that sometimes they try to use that to come up against us spiritually, right? Because they do certain things in those time frames. So that's what we're talking about here this evening. I want to say thank you to all the viewers. I see Mark, brother Mark. Thank you for tuning in. To all the new viewers that are here, appreciate y'all. I try my best to put on the good work, to do the good works, but it's like right now I'm just got restrained YouTube and Facebook. I was on TikTok, but TikTok banned me because I guess I talk about Heavenly Love Foundation, so that they're not allowing me to share no lives to TikTok. Like I said before, the spiritual battle of good and evil is at hand. It's always here. It just depends on where you want to stand, right? I'd rather maintain a heavenly love foundation, and forgive and use those spiritual gifts of discernment that I'm blessed with to do the good works. But it's saying that uh, open open mic night is on Tuesdays here and on Thursdays, where the viewers are allowed to come in and share stories. I heard somebody that they wanted to share a story uh, dealing with their experience. I think it was the brother that was a preacher, or Samoan preacher. I think he might have caught it early because he had to go to work. So if he comes back on here, uh, or maybe I can invite him so he can share some of his testimonies of what is witnessed within the church environment and stuff like that. Like I said, spiritual warfare is very real. But in saying that, brothers and sisters, hope y'all enjoyed the show. God bless every single one of y'all. Y'all have a good night's rest. Love, light, and blessings to you and your families. And always remember, you're never alone. Even when you think that you're alone, that nobody cares about you, that nobody loves you, I'm telling you, Jesus Christ is right there with you, and he loves you. And all your brothers and sisters love you, because we're all children of the light, brothers and sisters. So there is love in this world that can reach out to you spiritually. You're not alone. You are somebody. Chosen ones. We're children of the light. Aloha. And saying that, this is Brother Abe Cias. Or I can go about, let me see. Yeah, I'm going to sign it off because I do have to get up early. This is Brother Abe Cias here from Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. Going to call it a night. Soren Cias signing off from Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. Again, thank you all for tuning in. God bless you and good night.